Hello, this is Michael from Inward. I'm a sales recruiter. I have been for 21 years. I am going to explain to you the perfect recruitment campaign. It's obviously better if you use Inward because you've got the likes of me and my charismatic personality helping you. But if you follow this process, you will recruit better. It's based on 21 years sales experience, 150 plus recommendations. I don't know how many sales vacancies I've worked in. It's got me more than 2,000. So the first part is you've got to get your brief right. I see client briefs sent to me in a Word document. They are utterly pathetic. And the people that send them to me are actually very bright people. And what that tells me is the clients don't think enough about what's important to them. And actually hiring somebody from your direct competitor, that's not what you should be doing. You should be thinking about what skills are required to do the job and then interviewing against those skills. You can see there's a Venn diagram on the right-hand side here. What we're talking about is that too many clients come to market with unrealistic expectations about how big their cohort is. They want a tech, person, vertical match, and they come to market with too little budget. So hire for skill, get your budget right. Next is your candidate pipeline. And if I refer back to the Venn diagram, that shaded bit in the middle, if there's not 250 candidates out there that you're reaching out to, and I'll come on to how to do that, statistically, you won't fill your job. When a client briefs me and we talk to them about what their requirement is, I build a cohort and I say to every single client, if there's not 250 people in that cohort, you don't stand a good chance of filling it because you're going to go from 250 to a long list to how many people you reach out to. Then you've got to take into account the reply rate. And actually out of 250 prospects, you're going to get about 2 interviews. Then let's think about your outreach quality. Bland emails that your other recruiters and you are sending out are useless. They don't work. Don't send them. Putting I'm hiring next to your profile is also rubbish. What it actually tells people is, I've got no money and I want people who troll LinkedIn. You are going to hire losers if you do that. Advertising is an absolute waste of time. Trust me, I've done it. I've advertised. I've wasted that money. Don't do it. What you need is high quality media and a multi-pronged outreach approach. How many times have you created an advert like this? Well, never. That's why you're watching it. This is how we reach out to our clients. Are you using InMail on LinkedIn? And I'm talking LinkedIn Recruiter. I'm not talking the cheap one that you get for nearly free because everybody does that. I'm not talking using a connection request. Are you emailing people with their actual email addresses, not a guess? Are you sending SMS? Are you doing targeted advertising? Are you using WhatsApp? Are you doing any of that and using media like this? Because if you're not, you're going to hire second-rate candidates. The next part of it is speed and communication. Brief your recruiter. Give them 2 weeks to find the cohort. Then once you've got a CV or a collection of CVs, arrange first interviews at a set time. Then at a set time pre-arranged, a week later do second interviews. Then create an offer. Don't, get a CV from this recruiter and I'll add them into the mix. Get this. And then you've been recruiting for 2 months because the person that you met 2 months ago, they just got off the market. You just wasted your time completely. First interviews, do's, interview the candidate against your needs. Secondly, let the candidate know what you want to know, because actually just blindly reading their CV and asking them about their interest in Spanish, that's just pathetic. But actually that's what the candidates are going to do. You've got to explain to them why the questions you're asking are important to give them a chance to answer them so you can understand it. Be honest. You've got to be honest, because if you hire somebody on a lie, they will leave and you've wasted your money. Be clear. Have one brief that you all interview against. So does first interview, second interview, third interview, are they all interviewing against the same criteria? And you've got to close somebody. I think you probably are a salesperson and you might close the odd deal. The person sat opposite you is how you're going to hit your target next year. So close them. And if they're closing you, let them close you. Don't make up some stupid lie about having other people in the frame. Be clear, be honest. Don't compare candidates. Don't lie. Don't ask stupid 1980s questions. They're just out the window. And don't make personal comments. I hear loads of personal comments about what people are wearing, what they say, their accents. What's the point? Can the person do the job? Next, you've got to talk about speed and communication. I think everybody should interview against the scorecard. There's a scorecard on the screen. You've got to use something like this to keep the process slick. There's another video about that. After first interview, and when you're thinking about prep, 30, 60, 90-day plan is pathetic. I've got a 13-year-old daughter. She could write a brilliant one. Role plays, some clients do use role plays after the first interview and they're going into second. I quite like the role play, but you've got to be careful. Sometimes the candidates don't like it. But you've got to get them to do some form of due diligence about you, and you've got to be very clear about what the next steps are, and quick and honest feedback is important. Offer process, verbal offer, get them to accept it verbally, then send out a written offer. Don't send out a written offer if they haven't accepted it verbally because you've wasted your time. You are, as they say in, I think it's Glengarry Glen Ross, writing wood. They've got to have a quick start date. Bear in mind the start date, there's got to be some flexibility because they might hand the notice in and just get canned straight away. So there's got to be some flexibility around the start date. And in terms of taking references, don't bother, it's a waste of time. A mate of mine is an IT salesperson, he'll smile when I say this. He gets just his mates from down the pub to do his references and say that they worked at wherever, IBM. Offer letter, it should be a document that you are proud of. That document that you're sending to that candidate is worth £1 million. If it does not look like £1 million document, if it looks like you wrote it on a train, don't send it. It should be branded. It should be email and posted. It should have an exploder. They should have it for 3 days. If they don't sign it, that's the job offer gone. There should be a clear acceptance mechanism to it. Very often candidates will say, Mike, where do I sign the offer letter? I mean, I just think that's unbelievable. Are you sending out contracts that don't have a signature part to them? The comp plan should be clear. Could be part of the contract, could be a separate thing, but they should have the comp plan. If they don't ask for the comp plan, you've got a problem. It should be a full contract as well. Upon signature, you should be speaking to them the day before they resign and the day after they resign, and then you should be talking to them before they start with you. Because in the current market, if the candidate should get counter-offered, and actually even once that their employer has accepted their resignation, their employer will still be talking to them. Furthermore, if they're a good candidate, other companies will be selling to them all the time. Just because they've accepted your offer and they've signed it doesn't mean that there's not other recruiters reaching out to them or other companies. There is. They are work in progress, and you should be talking to them at least twice a week until the day that they start. All of the things you shouldn't do, don't have too many stages in the interview process, and be clear. I've got one client at the minute, absolutely, I mean, I hope this client watches it. What actually happens is they just add another person to speak to, and then they add another person to speak to. Before you know it, candidate goes off the market. Don't compare candidates with each other. I've been pretty clear about that. References, forget it. As my dad would have said, don't have champagne taste and lemonade money. I see that all too often. People come into market not with enough money to hire. It just never works. Don't use too many recruiters. Say right now, if I'm talking to a client who's using 3 recruiters, it goes down to 3, it goes down to 2, and I'll walk away. What happens is, too many recruiters, you've got too many people, often, because a lot of the recruiters are absolutely terrible, just making bad outreach, and that makes you look bad. And this whole thing, yeah, I just want to meet one more person before I make a decision, Mike, forget it. If you've written down what your brief is and you've interviewed against your brief, and if that person meets your brief, hire them. If that person doesn't meet your brief, don't hire them. But just having a look at one more candidate will not help you at all. I hope this rant has helped you. I didn't mean it to be a rant, actually, but that's what it actually turned into. If you follow that process, you will hire better.